This is episode 78 of the Wilderness Locals podcast. What do you get when you mix a bottle of Screwball, Aron Snyder, Scotty Campbell from Topo, Texas, and us in the midst of a ridiculous controversy? Well, you're about to find out, and it kind of gets hairy. This episode is brought to you by Kafaru International, the toughest hunting gear on the planet, bar none. Check out their quick ship items, and you could probably get them by Christmas still. And as always, this podcast is brought to you by Just Shooting Arrows, BC's premier archery shop.
I'm here. I made it.
Screwball made it.
I did. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Are you speaking into the bottle?
I'm going to say right now that I have been drinking excessively tonight, but luckily for me, I have a very, very good metabolism, so I sober up quickly.
That is no bullshit. I can attest to that.
Yeah, that'll be seen on this call, I'm sure.
That can you guys hear me good? I got my earbuds on. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
What's the new truck?
The new truck. So that is a F-250 Super Baja. So it's basically the same thing I had before, just a bigger version. So it's got a 7-inch lift with 37s. It's a 6.7 liter turbo diesel with it's obviously been tricked out, and it's got aftermarket lighting, quite a bit done to the engine. And this suspension system obviously has been tweaked, and then it's got lockers and things like that. So my penis shrunk after I bought that. You have the little penis trucks. Mine got smaller from purchasing that.
You'd fit right in up in old Alberta, right with the rest of us, Snyder. We all got little dick trucks.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Yeah, I had a guy mention that to me today, and I'm like, well, if you want to go public and whip our penises out, I'm more than willing, but I don't want to hurt your feelings. But I will post it publicly, but you'll look stupid because you know how people on the online are. Everybody's tougher online.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Everybody's an internet tough guy.
So you're home. I thought you were still in Texas with Scotty, just fucking stacking some bodies up, but I guess not.
What shit, Scotty? What, I come home a couple days ago?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Yep, came home, and I was actually going to drive home the next morning, and what was it, probably 3 o'clock, I told Scotty and Di, I'm like, shit, I think I'm just going to drive home tonight. We'd already driven 7 hours or so, and then I had another 7 or 8 ahead of me, and I'm like, piss on it. So loaded up the truck and said goodbye to Scotty and Di, and got home about midnight, got a few hours of sleep, and then went into work, and then came back down, picked the truck up, filled out the paperwork, went back into work, and that was a couple days ago, and just been catching up on work since. I'm heading back down to Scotty's. We're going to do some more hunting, and then Scotty, the third time frame is when the fun begins as far as guiding goes.
That's when all the clients come in on I think Gallagher and all those guys come here the 2nd. So from the 2nd till sometime in April, man, it's like insane. Y'all need a job?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And
they won't let Wasey in.
Yeah, they won't let me into your country, but I could sneak in like what did it, like Trump, he called us the snow Mexicans. I could sneak in.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Hell, you might get $400,000 if you do that.
I heard about it. That's fucking wild. Did you
guys see that? Whatever, Jesse Smollett just got convicted 5 out of 6 counts for faking the hate crime.
That's awesome.
I can't tell you how much I love the fact that he was convicted of 5 of 6 of those different, basically his lies, and Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted on all charges. I am very happy right now that justice has been served, and the innocent have been proven innocent and the guilty have been proven guilty, even with all the fucked up people in our country.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just your country; it's our country too, and I mean all over the place. Fucking, shit's just getting weird.
I was talking to fucking Trent Wingard tonight on the phone, and I'm like, you should get up here and do some hunting. He's like, I would, but you guys got to get rid of that fucking leader of yours first.
The gay king.
It's weird. We did a podcast today on Kafaru Cast that I'd encourage people to listen to. And we had talked about, we were going to cover multiple subjects, but we just didn't have time. And the Matt Ranella podcast, we talked about, basically Matt did a podcast with Blood Origins bashing the shit out of people like me, more or less, and Cam Haynes and Joe Rogan. And we did kind of a more of a common sense approach podcast to that today.
Mm-hmm.
But where else in the world could you do a podcast as an absolute nobody like Matt Ranella that only has any traction because of his brother, while he's bitching about his brother, and then cry like a little girl that says, I'm not going to go to Christmas dinner if you don't stop talking to Joe Rogan? That pretty much defines America and Canada at the state we're in right now to a T. I'll cry and not come to Christmas dinner if you don't do what I ask.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%. Yeah. People are pussies. I think
you guys listen to that?
I listened. I got about halfway through it and shut it off, and I don't know. It's just to me.
Me and Aaron listen.
Go ahead, Scotty.
Go ahead. Me and Aaron listened to it on the way. I guess we were on the way from my house, from hunting camp to my house, and it was like, I thought it'd be pretty good. And what a fucking idiot this guy is.
Yeah.
That's an hour and a half of my life I'm not going to get back.
Yeah. No. I don't know. To me, it's kind of funny when you look at it, right? Like, everybody's talking about how Matt and Steve are fighting. And then you look back, and the first place that Matt's published on this topic is on fucking Meat Eater. It's like, I don't know, a great way to get publicity is to create internal drama that you can control, right?
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just when I look at it, it's like they're doing is fucking pumping their name and having a public disagreement, and the only people that are benefiting from it is Meat Eater.
Well, Scotty, I know how old you are. Scotty, you're 50 plus. Wasey, how old are you?
38.
And Ty, how old are you?
35.
So, Wasey, you're up there like, Scotty and I, we didn't have cell phones when we were younger. We didn't have social media, didn't have range finders. And I was doing this shit far before social media. So for some fucking soft ass pussy to come on and post my photo on his article saying I'm doing this for glory. Yeah. It's hard for me to swallow because I was doing this long before social media was ever came to be. And I know you guys, as well as Scotty, we all answer questions for free. We all motivate people to get in the outdoors for free. And so for somebody to black and white, like blueprint something and say, if you post a dead animal, you're bad. Mm-hmm. Well, let's look at what Matt has done for your outdoor industry. And that rhymes with hero, which is fucking zero. That chubby little bitch has done nothing for the outdoor industry. So him to get on and piggyback off his brother's name, bashing guys in the industry that are trying to make a difference, it's hard for me to swallow. No, I'm not saying at all. And Scotty and I talked about this. There is definitely chuckleheads in the outdoor industry that are doing it for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
But if social media ends tomorrow, I'm doing the same shit that I'm doing right now. Yeah. Nothing is going to change. Mm-hmm. The only thing that'll change is I don't have to answer fucking questions. And I'll probably sleep a little bit better. But Scotty and I are still going to guide an outfit. When I say that, I mean Scotty's the outfitter. I'm going to guide for Scotty. Scotty and I are still going to go hunting. Wasey, you're going to still do what you do. And nothing about social media is going to change that. So for that pudgy little fuck to get on there and start talking shit drives me crazy, because I guarantee he wouldn't do that standing in front of me. And if he did, he probably wouldn't look the same when he's done. And for that little fuck to also take my photo without asking me, Do you really think that's going to happen if he actually was standing in front of me and then bash what I do? And what irritates, we dug through the messages today on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of people talking about losing weight, about potentially committing suicide, about changing their marriage, about changing their life because of what we do on social media. And for that little fucker to get on there and say that that's bad, it drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The positive that comes out of it for everything that we do is, I think, far outweighs what the fuck he's talking about.
I think he's really reaching, using your photo, Snyder, and like, I mean, there is, like you say, there is those bad examples in the industry, and I mean, they end up on fucking copper-plated sixes or whoever's page. All these idiots in the outdoor industry doing dumb shit that make us all look bad. Those guys exist. You're not one of them, though.
No, 100% those guys exist. Scotty and I talked about, and I mean, we all are cut from the same cloth, different age demographics, but we're all cut from the same cloth. And Scotty, what year did you start guiding?
I started working for my dad when I was 18. So 55, 18, what's that? A long damn time ago.
55, 45, 35, 25. So you're looking at in the 1980s, late 80s is when you started guiding.
89, I think.
You really
88, 89.
Okay. For me, obviously, like social media started getting a little bit bigger in 2008, 2009. I would be doing just like Scotty and Wasey and Ty, the same thing, whether social media was involved or not. And we did a podcast about this today with 4 different gentlemen. And it is the net good from social media, does that outweigh the bad? Meaning, using me, I don't want to involve anyone else, is what I do a net good or a net bad? Meaning all the questions I answer for free, all the different tech tips and everything else, is that a net good? One of the things he left out he left out a lot of things. Obviously, it's a very, very narrow focal point through his lens is when you look at the good, how many lives you've changed and things like that, you have to have validity in what you say. And if you don't have any dead animals, you don't have any validity. And when I say that, meaning if I didn't know, Wasey, that you killed animals, why would I listen to you? You don't have any validity behind what you're saying unless you post on social media. And that's the world we live in today. And so if I post dead animals along with photos, meaning artistic photos that I take with the camera along with dead animals, it just brings validity to my name that I'm actually getting out there and getting after it, so people understand that they're talking to someone that knows what they're doing. Scotty has done far more outfitting and guiding than I have. Scotty's done way more whitetail hunting than I have. So when I have a question about whitetail hunting, things like that, I ask Scotty. Scotty has something on backpack hunting. He asks me because he has validity in whitetail hunting, outfitting and guiding. I have validity in backpack hunting. Wasey, you have validity in multiple different things like that. Without photos and some photographic proof, you don't have validity in your name or what you're talking about. You have to have that. And so for him to sit there and basically bash everything his brother does, and I don't believe in everything his brother does, it's certainly not his financial backers, but he's picking back. Who would fucking even know what his name was if it wasn't for his brother? So he's blasting all these different people and all the things they do. Who would even know who he was if it wasn't for his brother, who got to where he is by, in his ideologies, prostituting hunting. So I get a kick out of that because he wouldn't even be noted if it wasn't for his brother's name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the truth.
Funny, Aron and I were driving.
Go ahead, Scotty. Go ahead.
Aron and I were driving home the other day listening to that. And I'm like, well, shit, man, before social media, like I got stacked because I'm old, right? I got stacks and stacks of photo albums. I've carried them to many a campfire. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of having an Instagram page to show somebody, my season or my years or whatever, I had a photo album. Hell, we were laughing about Chris Prino. Aron just met him. I don't know what was it, Aron, when he was like toting a freaking photo album around the ATA a few years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I mean, what Scotty's talking about is true. And I mean, I'm like, I don't know if you guys have seen Joe Dirt when the farmer friend is like, damn, boy, you had a date. Well, I'm like, Chris, you need to put that shit on a phone, right? Like, but the thing is Lacey, one of the reasons why I know that you know what you're talking about and you know what you're doing is social media. You're posting multiple different animals, whether they be alive or dead, that you're out in the thick of things 24/7. You're always out in the wild. And that adds validity. Back in the day, rewind 20 years, it was magazines. Well, it was the same thing. It's just you didn't have the umbrella or the platform that you have today. And so using a platform, whether it be you guys, with Wilderness Locals podcast or Scotty, Campbell, Texas Outfitters, or me with Kafaru Cast, or my own name, I post photos because I'm proud of what I do. Meaning if I spent, I was 12 miles in and I was lucky enough to kill an elk and pack it out, and we did 18 miles that day. I want people to hear about what happened, hear about the struggle, hear about the ass whooping we took to get there and to get out with that animal. And then in the end, a few weeks later, there I am throwing a roast in a crock pot from the elk that I took, back in the wilderness 12 miles deep. I see nothing wrong with that, and it motivates thousands of people.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to have his own views, which are very narrow-minded and quite honestly, just straight up retarded. I mean, they're stupid.
They're fucking ignorant.
Makes no sense. Now, yeah, and they are very ignorant. There is tons, just like cops, game wardens. There's always going to be a bad apple, but the first thing you call when you have issues is going to be a cop if there's some kind of danger that arises, or maybe not with the four of us because we're heavily armed. Where they stay on young guns. There's a heavily healed man coming up the road, right? We're all heavily healed, but you're going to call a police officer when there's a problem because that's their job. So for somebody to basically say that anybody that posts a dead animal on social media is a level 1 hunter is stupid, because they're taking away all the good that those people do. And there is bad apples in that bunch. There always is going to be. But that doesn't mean that you should take away from the people that are trying to make it different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, that go ahead, Scotty.
No, go ahead.
No, it's all good, man. I think we have just a little bit of delay, right? So you let it rip.
Well, I just there again. I was telling Aaron, we were listening to that on the way home, and like I'm around Aron a lot, like from November on, but like from September and October, shit, I want to know what he's doing every day, because I ain't going to call him and bother him when he's on the mountain. But I can whiz over to Instagram, man, and hopefully catch a story and see if he's, had luck and if he's got something down, shit, I'm the first one that wants to see it, same as you and everybody else. I want to see what all my friends are doing. And I guess that's important to me. I just don't know where that guy was coming from with all that. I want to know what my friends are doing, and I'm hoping like hell they got something down, because I'm like, I want to see it right now. Don't give me the teaser pics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's it's funny. Like some people completely abuse social media and use it for the wrong things, and there's other guys like you, Scotty, and you, Aron, they're using it for the right things. It's not just self promotion, right? It's a whole. It embodies your lifestyle and helps the space you're living inside, right?
I think so.
Yeah, for sure. So, oh, we're losing you.
Tyler?
Yeah, we're losing you there, Aron. Go ahead, bud.
Well, I just can say a few days ago you shot a blacktail, correct?
Yeah, man. I shot my first stick bow, a deer.
Okay, so rewind 20 years. How in the hell would I know about that unless you called me on a dial-up phone, let me know what was going on. Wrote an article 3 months, 4 months later. Social media is a very fast umbrella to let people know what you've done, what you're proud of, and give other people motivation that you're relatively, when I say relatively new, you're a newer hunter. That was your first, blacktail. And
I've
that motivates other people.
I've killed a few blacktail. It was my first one with a recurve.
With a recurve, exactly.
Yeah.
So that gives other recurve or traditional archers motivation that, okay, you struggled, you got it done, you spent X amount of days in the field, whatever story you tell. That gives them motivation to get out there if they're having a hard time, to get out there and get it done. Mm-hmm. And I see nothing wrong with that and nothing but positive things from that. And to say that because you posted a photo of what you're very proud of is a negative is one of the most idiotic things I've ever heard in my life. And maybe that's because he's jealous of his brother. Maybe that's because he's held too much by his mom as a child, not enough as by his father. I don't know. But in the end, you did something you should be very proud of, that other people would admire and strive to do the same thing you did. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be pretty hard to convince me that that's a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
For sure.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited, man. For stick bow animal, it's like that's the starting from a compound moving to a stick bow. That's a long road to sow.
That's the first animal stick bow period.
Yep. Yeah. My first recurve kill. I just started hunting with a recurve this year. I killed an elk.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks. I killed an elk this year too, but that was with a rifle. So, but yeah, man.
Oh, good.
I was tired of Aron teasing me to just commit and get rid of my compound.
He built me a really nice bow, man. But I come through those years I killed a handful of deer when I was just a big dumb kid with a recurve and didn't know any better. I think the struggle was so hard then that I'm like, man, it's hard to leave the compound for me now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What, so you guys are pretty well heading into the aoudad season here after you finish up muley, right?
Yeah, I think we got 2 mule deer hunts. I got one this week, and then Aron will be back here in the first, I think the second day of January. We got mule deer aoudad from the one mule deer then, and then we got aoudad from there till I don't know, sometime in April. It's like nonstop. So yeah, it's insane.
That's wicked. When's the best time to go down for aoudad?
There's no best. Any time you get here is good. Like, you're going to see them, you're going to be in them. I think the reason we do so much in January, February, March, April is, especially you northern guys, there's no season or anything for you to hunt. So that's kind of something a guy can get out and do. Especially up where you guys are, you can get the hell out of that cold weather and get down here to some kind of nice weather and chase some animals. And so it's been a good deal.
The weather's not too bad at those time frames. It's meaning it's not too hot. The snakes are not out, which is all, maybe things you don't think about, but, coming from where you guys are in the Nanook of the North, where you're freezing to death, the high is, I don't know, what, Scotty, mid-60s, high 60s is the high?
Yeah.
So it's summertime.
20s, 30s, a little bit lows every morning.
Yeah, so a little bit more agreeable to, weather-wise. And then again, like I said, the snakes aren't out like they are in different times. But as far as just seeing animals, you're going to see animals every day. So that's kind of the beauty of coming down there, that, you're going to have a good hunt, whether it's January, February, or March, April, whatever. You're going to see animals.
Are them aoudad pretty cagey after you've been hunting them for a while, or they're
very cagey. before or after, but yeah, you mash on them a little bit. Man, I'll tell you what, the way we handle it down here, like we don't beat, this place is so big. It's a 110,000 acre ranch. It's so big that we can hunt different parts of it and rest different parts and not beat it up too bad. And then hunting it smart, play to win. Don't blow them out. Don't beat them up. If it don't work, back out, start over. Kind of, like we just never blow the sheep out. Like we never hit them so hard that we just lose control of them. So we try to be smart about it because, we're going to have a lot of clients and we think about the last guy just as much as we do the first.
Yeah.
That's wicked. It looks like a killer time. Like hearing about all the Stickbow Chronicle guys down there chasing around animals and fucking Aron breathing down their neck when they're trying to make a shot. That sounds killer.
That was just Rob.
Yeah. He's a good dude, man. I like that dude.
Man, that was a good week. That whole bunch of guys were freaking awesome.
Yeah, and we actually 3 out of 4 guys got their animals, which is pretty dang good for traditional archery. And Rob, he was actually on the podcast with me today when we were talking about the Brunello podcast, and I think the biggest thing that people maybe have. I don't know how to look at it. Maybe they think the hunt's going to be a little bit easier. It's very doable. You're going to see a lot of animals. You're going to have a lot of stock, but you are going to have to hunt. It's not a gimme. And that's a big thing for people that, it's not the high fence hunting or whatever. You're going to have to get after it to get it done, but you certainly can get it done.
That's wicked. It sounds like a killer time. I want to come down once the world's not so messed up.
Typically in Texas, we get the rap for, hunting over feeders or, bait piles or in a high fence. And this is way far from all of that.
That's killer. Yeah. I mean, I think from the photos and everything, it doesn't look like any less of a mountain hunt than any of the other ones we see or we've been on, right?
Yeah, I think it was Barklow said on one of his deals last year when he come. He was after this hunt was over. He was. I heard him on something talking to me, and he was saying like he got his ass kicked, and he said this hunt was as legitimate of a sheep hunt as any he'd ever been on.
That's wicked. I mean, that says a lot for a guy like that.
We were logging in 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 mile days. For multiple days. So it isn't probably what some people, maybe think. And he had opportunities every day. It's just that you are going to have to get after it when you're down here, especially, depending on what time you come down here and everything else. It's a target rich environment. You're going to see animals every day. But you're going to have to put a stock in, you're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to be able to shoot. And it's not going to be something where it's over a feed or where you're sitting in the ground blind waiting for something to come in, and shoot it, with a high fence or whatever. It's totally different than what people think.
That's killer. And the javelinas look like a great bonus.
They are built for bow hunters.
Have you figured out how to eat them aoudad yet, Scotty, or what?
Yeah, you make summer sausage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my remedy. Man, there's some of these guys that Justin Metcalf that come with the Stickbow Chronicles. Like he swears by it. Best thing he's ever eaten. I don't know what elk or deer tastes like from Washington, but I have to argue with him a little bit. I love it in summer sausage. It's awesome. Other than that, I'm out.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah. So We shoot some deer in November every year that are just, they're that sagebrush, nasty deer, and it makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. I don't know. There's just some animals that are just born to be sausage.
Yeah. Well, all dad's one of them, I promise.
That's wicked. How long have you been guiding, Scotty? I think Aron might have asked already on here, but
yeah, man, I've never figured it up. My dad was an outfitter in Montana.
Oh yeah,
and so we always had a ranch between Texas and Montana since I was 18 years old. I'm 55, so what would that be? 50, 40,
37,
40, 40, 30. Yeah, it's a long time.
So what's that? 37, 38 years.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't feel like I'm that damn old, but like I guess I am. But yeah, I've been guiding a long time
since Wasey was a baby.
Even inebriated, I'm pretty good at math. So these are 37, 38 years using fingers and toes. Scotty's been doing this for a long time, and when people come down for this, for this hunt. Scotty, you've guided elk and whitetail and outad and multiple, tons of different animals. But, when they come down for this specific hunt, and I'm obviously speaking, just helping Scotty out, but, there's food, there's lodging, there's a lot of opportunities. And for guys just getting into hunting or guys that have been hunting, many, many years, you're going to have an experience that's going to be, whether you're learning, meaning you're learning from Scotty or myself or one of the other, guys helping out, how to stalk, be patient, read animal behavior, things like that. Or if you're a guy who's more experienced, you may be hunting, one of the more, mature animals. It's still going to be something that you have to put effort in. It's not a gimme. And so, Scotty, you've done this, like 30, what did I say, 30 some years.
37, yeah.
37 years. I mean, going down and being able to help out Scotty, that's a vast wealth of knowledge that people are going to be able to learn from. With a relative, I mean, it's the poor man's sheep. I mean, what's a doll sheep cost nowadays? Any from 16 to 32,000 for a doll sheep, and an outad is 6,500. So it's something that people can get into the game on, get some experience, under their belt, and not spend, 32,000 is just for the tag for somebody like the Lancasters. That doesn't include tip or traveling expenses. So it's a good way to get into it and learn quite a bit, to come down and hunt.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, like I've said it on this podcast a lot. Going and hunting in southern Alberta with Wasey, watching him stalk animals and stalking animals with him, elevated my bow hunting game exponentially many times. And I imagine it's probably the same for guys going down and hunting with you and Scotty Snyder.
It's not even that is well, I guess, that's pretty important, like learning, like knowing animal behavior, but what makes this deal cool is the target rich environment. Is like, if you and Aron can attest, you're going to blow some stalks, wind's going to get you, this sound, whatever. So you're going to mess some stuff up. But the thing about here, as opposed to a crazy $30,000 sheep hunt somewhere north, is you blow this stalk and just pick your binos up, man. Look across the canyon and you'll find 30 more, and shit, bell off, let's go get them. Or blow that, there's 20 more up the canyon. Let's go. Okay, there we go. You'll run out of energy and the time of day before you'll run out of stalks.
That's killer.
Awesome.
That's so killer. That sounds just so stupid fun, and it's pretty rad watching you guys on Instagram and on the stories and stuff, sneaking around in through the cactus and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty killer.
The one drawback is Snyder has rolled in here and made this shit look easy, like especially with a stick boat. His hunting aoudad is stupid hard with a compound. Like it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And man, he's just like blowed in here and over every how many years now, and just like, okay, yeah, just knocked one over, and it's Chris Perino and I were talking about this today, and he's like, it's almost made it look like, oh shit, everybody can go do that, man. It's not that way at all.
Well, I mean, to add some context to that, the first aoudad I killed was way up north in the Panhandle, and it was a ewe. I hit it, and we ended up, the next day going after it because I had made a bad shot. What that distance was, I'm not sure, but somewhere between 7 and 11 miles before I was finally able to put a second arrow in it. The next year, on the day that I killed a ram, I had 49,000 steps on my Garmin watch. I had missed, I think, 11 times, or had 11 stalks or 11 blown opportunities before I finally killed one. I did end up shooting it, 4 or 5 yards, but there was a lot of effort involved in that. And then the next year, just common sense, patience, and I was able to end up pulling off like a 9-yard shot on a 30+ inch, aoudad. But it also, I had 5 different approaches before I was able to get in close enough to where I could make it happen. And just happenstance, one of the lambs and ewes came in and actually were pushing their head up against my limb tip, which caused them to kind of blow out and cause the lead ram to come up and investigate, which I put an arrow in. And then, this year, Scotty, we were an hour in the middle of the stalk trying to get close, and 2 actually ended up coming out of the cliff.
Yeah, that was pretty insane deal. You guys laid down. Well, that was awesome. I set up on top of the cliffs and glassed you guys down in there, you and Barnwell, and I don't know. You was in there an hour and a half before it all come together. The sheep were in the rut, and they were I don't know, was it 100 sheep down there just fighting and running, knocking rocks off the cliffs, and it was pretty insane, but it was one of the coolest things I ever seen, sitting up above it, watching it. And just so happened those old, like when shit got real and the ewe was in heat, those 2 old time sheep come out of the cliffs and come by you there. But it was like, yeah, you guys laid in rocks for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I got a serious question.
There's a lot involved in it.
I got a serious question about Texas, though, man. Like, if you scroll through the Topo Texas Instagram page, it's like aoudad, mule deer, elk, whitetail. Like, and isn't there a bison on here somewhere? Like, the fuck is going on? Oh, there's a speed goat. What's going on in fucking Texas, man?
Man, we have big antelope here. Aron killed one 85-inch goat here.
That's wild, dude. There's javelina. Like, there's everything. It's like anything you could want to do is in Texas.
If you look hard enough, you'll find it.
Right? That's killer. You guys have some killer mule deer down there, eh?
Yeah, we have like this is not Alberta by no means, but they're like that 150 to 170. Like, yeah, we're good.
Mm-hmm. That's killer. That looks super fun. Do you guide a lot of mule deer, Scotty?
Man, I like not a lot. I had we're on a managed land deer program here, and so I only had 6 tags on this whole ranch. And I don't know, Aron can tell you there's a shit. We'll probably lose 5 deer of old age this year.
Oh, that's brutal.
It's good. It's good. It's fun. And there's, because we don't hunt but 6 deer a year, 6, 7, whatever tags we get, these deer are pretty gentle. Like, it's a bow hunter's paradise.
That's wicked.
Yeah. 110,000 acres too. So there's lots of room to play,
Oh yeah. 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 And like I say, just because, they're so unpressured that it's not a hard hunt. Like it's not a gimme, but it's not hard, but just simply because of the pressure.
Yeah. Do you guys have lots of hogs too, or?
We don't have any hogs on this ranch. Now I have a few hogs up by my house. Aaron's been charged a time or two up there. It's pretty fun, but none down here.
Were you with hounds that time, Snyder? Was that with you, Scotty, up there?
Yeah, my
Scotty
son
and I, I was just going to say Wes has the dogs, and another friend of me and Scotty's, Brian Austin. Super good dude. My wife and I went down, and my wife, ended up getting one. She about got run over in the midst of the chaos by a 200 and some pound hog. And then Wes and I later that day I put an arrow in one, and I kind of half drew because the dogs were behind it, and I actually ended up having to jump over the hog as it charged me, trying to clip me at the leg. It was a
white man can jump.
It was wild. I do have some skills. Thank God at one time I could dunk and I was able to clear that hog.
I don't know if you guys seen that video, but like you can see my son Wes is videoing it, and he's like, "Look out, Snyder!" And you can see this nocturnal sticking out of this hog, and you can see Aron jump, and it goes like it nearly clips him on the nuts. Between his legs.
It was a close call. It ran right between my legs when it was charging me, so it was pretty wild.
That doesn't sound fun.
Well, that sounds like a fucking blast. I'd like to get in on some of that.
Yeah.
It is fun. That is pretty fun.
I don't know, man. Wasey's the kind of guy that's getting into fist fights with moose, though, so might not be on my level.
So can you guys just free rein on javelina down there, Scotty, or do you got tags for how many?
No, you're allowed 2 of them a year per year per license.
Okay.
But man, like we have lots of javelina. They need to be a nuisance here.
Are they half blind and things? Like, can you guys sneak right up on them?
Yeah. They don't sneak. They don't see really good, but they can smell. And once you've kind of put a little pressure on them, they get pretty wary.
That's why. That's why.
Yeah.
But you talking about an animal built for stalking with a stick bow? They were built for it. It's too much fun.
That sounds killer. That's way killer. Oh man, I was thrown off guard by us diving straight into the Matt Ranella controversy, Snyder.
It happened. It was a trip listening to that podcast.
I was like, maybe we'll just ease into it here, and then we'll wind you up by the end of it. And no, we just dove in head first.
So he fucking did he talk about you, Aron, in this podcast, or he just posted your picture on the article?
Yeah, no, he never mentioned me, and I think that in all fairness, there are certain points he brings up that are valid, right? There's people doing it for the wrong reasons, but some of the things that he said just don't make any sense. And anytime, as a leader in the at my company and other jobs that I've had, whether I was a foreman or a president or a CEO or just a crew manager or a crew boss, when you come up with a problem, you come up with a solution, and that solution needs to be valid and there needs to be validity behind that. He came up with a problem, but his solution was so idiotic, it just didn't make sense. And so, the one thing that we talked about on the podcast today is, as hunters, putting your best foot forward, trying to, show hunting in a positive light and promoting it accordingly. And if you're not doing that, we police our own. Shooting messages to guys, mention to them, hey, maybe that wasn't the best thing to do or whatever. But, to say that someone like Joe Rogan is the worst thing for hunting since hunting began. Is a little bit hard for me to swallow.
Yeah.
Is Joe experienced in all, facets of life and hunting? No, but he has recruited more people onto the good side than the bad. And one of the things that the guys brought up today that was on my podcast was like, well, what about the BHA crowd that may vote against, if you've converted them to hunting, they could potentially vote against predator hunting, depending upon the lens they're looking through. Well, okay, no matter what, before they were converted into hunting, they were certainly voting against it. So if you've converted them over to hunting, that at least gives you the chance to show them the actual outcome of introducing wolves and why hound hunting is a positive thing and how it works, and watching hounds work and how you can pick and choose the animal you go after or let the dogs out on and things like that. Before that, when they were back before they were hunting, you didn't have that chance. And so there's a lot of things that he mentioned that just didn't make any sense. And so saying someone like, let's say Cameron Haynes, Cameron's a friend of mine. Is everything that Cameron does something I agree with? No, but there's shit that I do that Scotty doesn't agree with. I mean, Scotty and I are best friends. But again, as a net good or a net bad, it would be hard for me to be convinced that Cameron Haynes is bad for hunting. He has converted, when you take ego and emotion and whatever else out of it, Cam has converted hundreds of thousands of people into hunting. He's helped motivate hundreds of thousands of people. Does he occasionally do something that we don't all agree with? Of course. Mm-hmm. But, just throwing up a big box saying anything Cameron does is bad is kind of idiotic. And so, when I listen to that podcast, I'm like, yeah, he's got some valid points. I wouldn't disagree with that. But, to say that anybody that posts an animal online is a horrible hunter is kind of, again, idiotic or stupid.
I totally agree.
I can't wait till the grip and grin of Matt Ranella just surfaces.
Well, he'd actually need to know how to hunt and be worth a shit of a hunter for that to happen. So,
hey man, he's got llamas.
I don't think he's actually knocking them down, in comparison to others. So could be totally wrong. He may be the next most lethal man in the outdoors that I know of, but I highly doubt it.
Something that kind of bothers me on that whole deal too is like Aron and I, like we have I don't know. I know for sure one guy particular that's coming hunting with us this year, man, it went through this like some terrible times in his life and gotten super overweight, divorce, and just, I don't know, different hard times in his life. And I'm not mentioning any names, but got to listening to Aron on Kafaru Cast and following him and like lost 50 pounds, freaking started archery hunting again, got just like really motivated to just do better in his life in general, saved his life. So the guy told me, he saved my life. And like,
that's
you
wicked.
know what? Like if social media does that for you, fuck, I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's just the coolest, man. Like that's we talk about that on this podcast all the time. Like the whole purpose of this thing is clearly not to make money and clearly not to get sponsors, because the shit we say will never ever get sponsors other than old Kafaru there. But like we're on here building community and having conversations with people and helping people getting going on hunting and stuff like that. And like exactly what you're saying, there's so much positive that you could spread inside this community. I mean, I don't understand how anybody has time for this kind of bullshit.
Yeah,
I don't either.
Weird. Go ahead, Scotty.
No, to me, it's about building friendships, and like, shit, I want to know that my friends are doing good. If you kill a big deer, I want to see it right now. Like, I don't know. It's just not a bad thing, man. Like there's people out there that make it bad. We know that, but the majority of it, and I'm old school, like shit, Aron had to teach me how to do all this. I am very old school, but like And we waterboarded Chris Prino to make him get Instagram. But like, it's a good thing, you know, like it's a quick way to know what all my friends are doing, how they're doing. And I damn sure want to see a grip and grin success story.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you took away social media, I would know none of you. And if I did, it would be at a very, under the sheets, like super, super low level. Meaning I may have heard of Wasey or Scotty or Tyler, but I wouldn't know you like I do now without social media. So again, is there bad parts of social media? Of course, like nobody's going to argue that, but I would not have met or had the friendship I have with any of you. In the case of Scotty, we spent 5 months out of the year together. And if it wasn't for social media, I would never have met Scotty. And so again, him listening to him cry like a little girl about, the trailheads are full. Well, you know what, dude, lose some fucking weight and hike farther. I don't know what to tell you. We all got to deal with the same shit. But if it comes to a vote, there's strength in numbers. And so if hunting numbers are going up, that may affect your hunting experience. But when things come down to a vote, we need the most numbers we possibly can to not lose any more of our hunting, rights that we already have. And so I struggled with pretty much everything he said from the moment he started. When I about lost all respect for him, he went ahead and said Joe Rogan was the worst thing in the world for hunting. So then I was down to next to nothing. And then he started the cancel culture bullshit where I'm not going to go to Christmas dinner with my brother if he doesn't start talking to Joe Rogan. What are you, fucking 12?
I think that's where we turned it off.
The definition of what is wrong with the world today. If you don't follow my thought process, what's going on, what I think is right, then you're not going to go to Christmas dinner with me because you're talking to someone I don't like. Yeah. You know what? Why don't you cry at the dinner table because you didn't get ice cream because you didn't eat your cauliflower too? I mean, what a little bitch. I couldn't believe it when he was saying that. Like, that is the definition of someone that probably has had their entire life handed to them. Like, I'm not going to talk to my brother because he's talking to Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that you'd send your kid to their room for.
Yeah, or in my case, get the living fuck beat out of me by my father.
Yeah, me too.
I couldn't understand what he was trying to get out of that. And again, let's say you two, Tyler and Wasey, let's say you do something that I don't agree with. I'm not going to, or let's bring it back. Let's say I don't like Italian food. I'm not going to pick at the fucking restaurant. I'm just not going to go there anymore. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't like Italian food. Okay, I'm not going to go to the restaurant because I don't like Italian food. I'm not going to fucking group 100 people together and pick at the fucking front door. That makes no sense. Mm-hmm. So if you don't like what people are doing, don't fucking follow along, right? I don't like the pool, right? I don't like to swim. I don't go to the pool. I didn't understand anything that he was trying to say as a net good or a net value to the outdoor industry. Everything he said sounded just like a crybaby little bitch that didn't get his own way when he was a child. That's what it came out to me as.
Yeah, and like I said, oh, sorry, Scotty, go ahead, man.
No, I agree. That's like my take.
Yeah. So I think I said earlier on this podcast, like you said too, Aaron, there is guys that are fucking up hunting's image for us, but the people that Matt Ranella was calling out and talking about, those are not the people, man. And it's like, when you think about in 2021, where we are right now with hunting, right? And me having started hunting in my mid-20s and being in my mid-30s now, I haven't been in it as long as any of you guys, but I can see it, right? What's the biggest threat to hunting in 2021 today? What's the threat? It's all of the internal bullshit that people like that are causing, right?
I would think so. The internal fighting.
Yeah.
Like, we need to all be together, man. I don't care if you hunt with a gun, a stick bow, or freaking slingshot, like we're all hunters. We have to be together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. Anyways, that's my take on the thing, especially having come into it as an adult. When I first got into hunting, it sort of blew my mind. Like, you know, every hobby or trucks or cars or motorcycles or whatever you get into, there's all these niches or little cliques or whatever. But then you look beyond that and you have to look at the whole thing and how do you keep that thing going, right? Like with hunting, there's people that are actively coming out against hunting all the time. Every day there's a new fucking change.org thing or a new organization rallying to ban hunting in your state. Like, I mean, look at Washington just the other day, right? And it's like hunters as a whole need to kind of be on the same page when it comes to, having the image of hunting look good, but it can't be through bullshit like what Matt Ranella is doing.
No, you know, there's a lot of jealousy in hunting.
There's definitely that. I mean, the one thing that I don't think Matt was, he definitely wasn't looking at is you guys know, I'm a photographer, right? I like taking pictures. So when I go do a photo shoot with a bunch of different photographers that, 99.9% of the time, everybody that's with me is either doesn't know anything about hunting or is anti-hunting. What that does is gives me a voice to talk to them when I'm on that photo shoot, talk to them about what I do and what goes into it, shed some light on the fact that you're potentially a supermarket, hitman. All right, well, you kill it with your checkbook and I kill it with an arrow, right? I mean, the end result is we're both doing something to put meat on a plate that we eat. And then when they get on my page, whether it be, Instagram or whatever, they see, good photos, they see grip and grins, they see all kinds of things. They see stories, they see videos. And that opens up a dialogue to talk about, say, oh.
You lose them?
Lose it?
Oh, I think we lost you for a sec, Snyder. He was on a roll too.
Tell a story. Oh, go ahead.
You there, Snyder?
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead.
We lost you for a second there when you were on a roll.
Oh, gotcha. I was just saying that, with being in the photography world as well, that gives me a voice when I do a photo shoot or whatever, that, when people see my page and they see a dead animal or they see, me cooking a dinner or a roast or whatever, that there's a dialogue there now. There's something to talk about that I can say, oh, yeah, we were 12 miles in and we packed that out. And, oh, yeah. Elk is super lean meat, super healthy, way healthier than beef. And there's nothing wrong with beef either. Just keep in mind that, when you go to the supermarket, you're killing it with your checkbook. Nothing wrong with that. But there's nothing wrong with me killing it myself and earning it or however you want to look at it. And without social media, you don't have that platform to tell the story and potentially, in a lot of ways, with me, convert people over to maybe not into hunting, but at least mid-road where people are actually looking at the big picture of, oh, yeah, these guys aren't all just bloodthirsty killers blasting shit out of the window. They're actually helping with conservation, helping with sheep and mule deer counts or whatever. They're actually stewards of the outdoors, not just some, ass, clown with a fucking gun, right? I mean, and there are people like that, but without social media, you don't have that platform to convert. And him talking about, numbers in the outdoors, I get what he's saying. Certain trailheads are overrun or whatever. But if we don't have numbers, we're going to lose. And we just lost because of lack of numbers in Washington. And you can't deny that. You can't argue that. I mean, that's fact. That's a cold fact. And so, again, social media helps, not all the time, but social media does help have that big umbrella or platform, depending on who you are, to help convert people over or tell a story when done correctly. So if you're doing it in a positive light, telling a story of what happened, how it happened, what you did, yeah, that's a net win. I mean, that's a good thing. So again, I think the dude's an idiot. Until I hear different or talk to him, I don't think my views are going to change. I think the dude would, again, he's jealous of his brother. He wouldn't even have a name if it wasn't for his brother. So as he's bitching and pissing and moaning about, fame and the outdoor community, nobody would know who the fuck Matt Ranella was if it wasn't for Steven Ranella, who has made his fame and money off of promoting hunting and the outdoors and cooking and different recipes and cookbooks and everything else. So he's pretty much a hypocrite, because the only reason why anybody knows his name is where his brother came from and how.
Yeah. And yeah, Meat Eater is all. That's what they made their money, is fucking media. They're a media group. And
I'm gonna throw in, I think Snyder could outcook all those guys. Like you guys see all the death pictures with him. That fucker can cook like nobody's business.
Well, you don't get this size from being a bad cook. I will say that. And I was single for a long time. Now, my wife is an amazing cook, and I kind of downplay it. But, when you're eating 8,000 calories a day trying to bench press over 500 pounds, if you can't cook, you're eating a lot of fucking tuna, and that gets old. So I did learn how to cook in the middle there. So, and I'm not going to whip up a cookbook for the greater good of the outdoor industry, but when people say, "Oh, you've killed too much," this is another thing that blows my mind. Okay, so I shoot 75, 100 animals a year, whatever it is. I eat generally around 500 pounds a year of wild game. My wife probably eats 75 to 100. Our dog eats the Aoudad and things like that. We have 2 Great Pyrenees. They eat the shit out of raw meat. My wife, when she sells a house, she's a realtor. She gives a gift packet of wild game. My neighbors, if they're neutral, anti, whatever, hunters doesn't matter, we give them wild game so they can try it out again, to help the voice of the outdoor community and the hunting community. But if I was to go buy 1,000 pounds of beef at all the supermarkets and give that away to the poor, no fucking problem. Everybody's okay with that because I killed it with my checkbook. But God damn it, I kill it with a fucking arrow. I'm a demon. Yeah, fuck that guy. I don't understand that. It's a renewable resource. Mm-hmm. Babies pop it out every year, and the Department of Wildlife allocates those tags. And if I fill those tags and choose to give that shit to my friends or my neighbors, and you're going to blast me for that, yeah, fuck you. I earned that. And if I go buy beef, it's okay. That makes no sense to me, because when I'm going to my neighbor who's an anti or a neutral hunter that never has wild game, and I'm like, "Hey man, I brought you over some burger, give us a try." And they're like, "Oh shit, this is good." And that maybe shifts them over towards our side of the fence. Again, that is a net positive. And so for somebody to get on there and say shooting too many animals is bad, is an idiot. Now, if you're wasting the meat, I'd get that. I wouldn't disagree. But Scotty, you know how much, between hunting camp, right? What Scotty eats, Di eats, Amy, myself, what my friends eat. We have barbecues at work. So a lot.
Oop, ignore that.
That was tricky. For what I, for the animals that Scotty and I take, a lot of those, I bring steak and things like that to work because we barbecue and everybody at work gets to experience that. Those are all good things. But that's bad because I've killed more animals than other people are capable of. But if I went and bought it, it's okay. That makes no sense to me.
Too, Aron and I get to like down here where we're at, as like I don't know anything about where you guys are, but like we have biologists down here who will issue us depredation tags. They'll come look at these ranches, not this ranch, but like up around my house, especially whitetail. Like Aron and I have one ranch, it's 5,000 acres, and we get 100 depredation tags a year on 5,000 acres. That's how many deer's there. We don't take all 100. We can't between everything we do, but we damn sure take a lot of them, and we eat and consume every one of them between us, our 2 families, friends, and hunting camp. Like we do go through a lot of deer meat, and it's like, shit, I'm a rancher and I don't eat very much beef.
That's awesome,
no,
man.
And the thing is if you can use that meat to help promote what we do, to me, that's a good thing, right? And when I say that, meaning at Kafaru, I have all walks of life. I don't employ just hunters. I don't employ, I don't employ off of your color of your skin or your whatever you want to call it, your choice of who you love or don't love or want to marry or your sexual orientation. If you're a good person, I hire you. Well, if those people have no idea about hunting because we hired them just because they're good people, they interviewed well, whatever. And all of a sudden now they're eating wild game and they're like, oh shit, this is good. And 3 months prior, if there was a vote that came down to ban elk hunting, and they would have voted pro for that because they weren't educated. And then 3 months after that, they work at Kafaru. I'm able to discuss with them and have a dialogue, an open dialogue about hunting. And then now they've eaten wild game and they're like, oh, this is really good. It's lean. It's healthy. Again, all of those things are good. And I mean, this is fact. I mean, this happens every day. I mean, I employ a ton of people and I'm able to walk out, tell them about the adventure I just had, bring a cooler down and say, hey guys, for the barbecue this Friday, you guys are having some North Texas whitetail and some Colorado elk and maybe some mountain goat. Well, if they try that and they like it, that's not bad. And then they can follow along with my adventures on social media. Those are all good things.
I often say on here, it's like you're every interaction that you have as a hunter with a non-hunter, you're sort of representing hunting as a whole for that person that you're talking to in that moment. And it's like, it's like your one opportunity to leave a good impression when these people ask you about shit. I noticed that as soon as I started hunting and as soon as people started asking me about hunting, I'm like, oh shit, I need to have my shit together to be able to answer these people.
Yep.
Oh yeah. 100%.
It's like, you can really screw that up badly.
Yeah, I'm not super good at it. Aron handles these things pretty good. He's just like in that field so often. But yeah, you guy needs to be able to inform everyone about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, you guys obviously are a little bit, depending on where you're at. Meaning, obviously in Colorado, there's a lot of, maybe a little bit more left swinging people or Democrats, whatever, however you want to look at it. If when I walk into a trailhead and I'm hiking in and I'm, got solid color pants and a camo top or a bow in my hand, let's say that's the recurve. And about 3 miles in, I run into a group of 5 people hiking out. And immediately they're like, oh, you're a hunter? And you can see it's negative. I'm like, yeah, I hunt. Why? What's up? We don't like killing of animals. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, and Tyler, I'm going along with what you're saying, right? And I'm like, oh, I get that. Are you guys vegetarians? And let's say 2 out of the 5 are. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you 3 do eat meat. Yeah. And I'm like, well, guys, something to think about is that animal that you're eating didn't die of old age. That was generally killed in a slaughterhouse, whether it be a stainless steel, basically rod shot into their head with an air compressor. They, whether a chicken, I come loaded with both barrels for any of these arguments. So I'm like, I get it. You guys, I mean, you got to understand the animals that I'm picking. We're 3 miles in. I'm hiking in here. I'm learning the animal. I'm enjoying nature. I'm a conservationist. I promote wildlife. I promote the numbers of wildlife. I pay attention to all that. I'm more involved in heavily in depth in everything I have going on with the outdoors. You guys are meat eaters. You're not vegetarian, but you're walking into a supermarket and killing it with your checkbook. You just didn't do the dirty work. And I started a dialogue and they're like, okay, I get that. And I'm like, so what's wrong with me doing what I'm doing? Looking at it from a warrior's mentality. When I want to be locked up in a cage my entire life and have a stainless steel rod shot in my head, or would I want to live free and on that day die like a warrior, right? Like I've gotten to live free in the wild, and compared to living in pens. Nothing wrong with either one, but it gives that dialogue and that question and answer aspect of the outdoor community. That again, Tyler, like you said, you're putting your best foot forward, representing hunting and talking to people about it. And that's extremely important.
Very important.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. Especially like where I live in on the west coast of BC, it's like when people find out you're a hunter, they either want to reprimand you for it or they want to learn about it. You really have to have the ammo to deal with that conversation in a way that helps, for sure.
Like when we were growing up, nobody ever brought it up. Nobody. It was not a thing. No one asked where it came from. We were just happy to have it.
No doubt.
Well, when you
That's
look at
kinda
that,
me.
go ahead, Scotty.
No, that's just like Wade said. That's where I come from. You know, I grew up my whole life. I've never had to explain to anyone just because of where I come from.
Yeah.
Well, the way that the world's turning nowadays, you know, you don't go into battle with a weapon that's only half loaded, right? You got to have a plan. You got to have loaded weapons. You got to, however you want to look at it. And so I encourage people to get educated and, you know, load. When I say they're weapons, I mean, load yourself up with knowledge. And so when someone does potentially confront you about hunting, that you can shed a positive light on that. So that when they walk away, they have a better understanding of what we stand for and what we do. Meaning, again, right, me being a photographer also helps. Of, hey, check out my social media page. That way they don't see I'm just some dumb fucking knuckle-dragging redneck that blasts shit out of the truck window with a gun. They see that, okay, I enjoy the outdoors. I enjoy the wildlife. I'm in it to raise the numbers of wildlife and also, help out with predator management, things like that. And, that's another whole ball game as far as like with predator management. I don't understand how hunters can be against hound hunting or baiting because it's the most, to me, the most humane way to take the most dominant predator out of the gene pool. Where else can you look at a track, measure the stride, let out the dogs, and be able to choose the most dominant or old male or species or dominant, the dominant predator of that specific species, meaning whether it's a bear or a mountain lion or whatever, and take that out of the gene pool to help the ungulates, meaning help the numbers of the four-legged animals that eat grass grow in comparison to the predators, because predators right now, like you guys have grizzlies, wolves, mountain lion, lynx, and bobcats. Did I miss anything?
Lots of Bigfoot.
And Bigfoot, if you believe in that fucker. That's a lot of problems for moose, elk, mule deer, sheep, mountain goats. And so when you have all those predators, people all of a sudden are like, predators are cuddly because, the polar bear's drinking a Diet Coke with both fists. Being able to shed some light on that to them as well of like, hey, wolves eat this amount of deer a week. Mountain lions eat this amount of deer. Black bears are the number one killer of calf elk. And those numbers need to be managed. And without hounds or baiting or whatever, spring bear hunting, whatever, without those, means of control or means of harvest, those numbers are going to get blown way out. And then there's going to be a giant dive in ungulates. So like moose, for example, moose have a hell of a time dealing with wolves. And I always, again, when I have ammo, I keep videos on my phone. So when someone in case of Colorado that voted for introducing wolves, I can show 6 wolves behind a moose, hamstringing it, and a cow moose, and then pulling their young out of their stomach and eating it and say, yep, this is what you voted for. Did you know you voted for this? Because this is what happens when you introduce, a muskie into a trout pond. You have just introduced an alpha male, a dominant predator to the ecosystem that does not have an off button. In that way, again, you are educating people that may not be educated, and social media has a big part of that.
I've seen some pretty wild shit with wolves, and I've seen the direct result of running out of ungulates. They basically eat themselves out of house and home, and then they start going after the ranchers' cattle. And like an example, one night we were going out elk hunting, and it's kind of like a grazing area, and they had hamstrung and flanked, I think it was eight cows that night. So they basically flanked them, ripped their guts out, and the cows died running on their guts. And so there was 8 in one night, and he never ate a bite out of any of them. He just killed them. So, it's I've seen the direct result of what happens when everyone's for it.
That's killing for fun too, right there, isn't it?
Well, and
yeah, they do. A lot of people say.
I think Wasey, you're about to say what I was going to say. According to the left-leaning biologist, I don't know if you know this, Wasey, even though you're living there and get to see it firsthand. But what the fuck do you know? Wolves don't kill for fun. Obviously, you didn't know that, even though you fucking live there and have to watch it. They say constantly wolves don't just kill for fun. And you and I both have seen, and you guys know the people I'm friends with, meaning the Lancasters, things like that. I have watched firsthand wolves kill for fun. And I have had hunters argue with me about that. Well, how do you know they're not going to come back? It's like, well, motherfucker, I spent 4 days on the side of the mountain. They never came back. If I got a cheeseburger on my dinner table, I'm probably not going to wait 4 days to eat that son of a bitch, right? I'm going to come back fairly quickly. So you can't say they're going to come back later. And ways that you've seen this way more than I have, but they 100%, without a doubt, without argument, kill for fun. And biologists try to say that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. I've seen them. I've seen cow moose that they've killed. They just basically pull her down, kill her, and just eat a little bit of her ass, and then they leave her to rot. So they kill for fun. A lot of the times too, that when like that night that morning when we came through and we seen all them dead cows, that was about the time of year they train their pups to hunt. And I think a lot of the times like they're doing it for fun, and a lot of it's training and shit. So yeah, but people say, oh, they only take the sick. Yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah, they're opportunistic. I mean, Snyder, I don't know if you saw the photos of the wolves that me and Wasey ran into up in goat country at 8,000 feet this summer. They were having a field day messing with those goats. It's pretty wild.
Oh yeah, no, I did see that, and again, like when you're not down here in the U.S., specifically Colorado. Frank, we talked about this a few different times. Frank was with his girlfriend at a kind of like a get together in a walking around strip mall type of thing. And there were people running around saying, hey, will you sign this petition, to introduce wolves into Colorado? And Frank was like, why would I sign that? Well, wolves are good. They should belong here. And they're like, Frank's asking questions. These people have never stepped foot into the wilderness. And, so obviously Frank didn't sign it. And again, I've run into these people. I'm like, hey, well, if we're introducing wolves, could we, in air quotations, going to bring back things to the original form? Why the fuck are we introducing grizzlies? Oh, because grizzlies eat people, and they eat fucking dogs and cats and all kinds of other shit. And they're a lot more aggressive, but we don't want to talk about that, right? This is the pick and choose smorgasbord, conservation mentality. Oh, we're going to take a little wolves here. Grizzlies, no, fuck that. Grizzlies eat people. We don't want those. Well, that's not the way life works. And when you talk about human encroachment, okay, well, while we're reintroducing wolves because they were in air quotations here originally, well, we better go burn the fuck out of a bunch of condos and houses from human encroachment. We got to bring this back to where it was. But again, most people want to pick and choose what suits their narrative or their needs at that time. And conservation does not work that way. It just doesn't. And it's crazy to me as I watch all this happen.
There's a super funny one here in BC with like right downtown Vancouver. I don't know if you've ever been to Vancouver. You've probably flown into it before, Snyder, but there's a place called Stanley Park, and it's like in the center of the city. Like it could not be any less wild. And there was a coyote problem there this summer. And these freaking idiots were having like vigils for coyotes that they were trapping, and they were starting these petitions to not take the coyotes out of the park. And these little coyotes were so brazen, they were attacking people and all kinds of shit. Like something had to be done, right? There's no choice. It was hilarious. And there was this one that was going around, and they were like, "Oh, the coyotes were here before us." You know what? They weren't. There was no coyotes there. Coyotes didn't exist there, idiots. It was wolves and grizzlies, and now there's folks. Like, it's just like you say, it's pick and choose, right?
Yeah, it's like,
I'm
okay,
always
if you want
holding,
coyotes, go ahead.
Go. I was just going to say, Aaron, I said, I'm always holding vigils for coyotes.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? It's like if you were able to take these people and really sit them down with an open mind, it's like, okay, if coyotes were here and you want them, I'm going to throw some grizzlies out in the middle of downtown Vancouver. We're going to throw a couple packs of wolves down there. Oh, yeah, we're not going to involve any federal or state trappers. No hunters are going to come to your aid. We're just going to watch those guys eat the fuck out of you. And when the dust is settled, we're going to be like, oh, yeah, we told you so. But you're not fucking smart enough to listen to people that actually know what they're talking about. But it's the smorgasbord conservation mentality of, we're going to pick a little of this. No, we're going to leave that. We don't want that. And it just doesn't work that way. And you're going to have a vigil for a coyote? Oh, okay. If you got mice in your fucking attic and you trap them, are you having a vigil for a mice? And they eat what you kill thing, which is beyond me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, are you gonna you trap a mouse? Are you gonna eat it? Or when the raccoon's on the front porch, you're like, oh, he's so cute. The next thing you know, he's in your fucking wall in your attic, and you're like calling somebody like me or the three of us, to come kill them. Well, they were cute when you're on their porch. They're not cute anymore than after they're fucking up your wall. It's amazing how people's brains work. It's just beyond me.
It's called uneducated voters.
Yeah. No kidding.
No shit.
Those same guys voted for Biden.
Trudeau.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, or Trudeau.
Let's go, Brandon and the Gay King. There you go.
Well, you guys obviously being our northern brother, what would you say the number one reason that grizzly bear hunting was banned?
Anti-hunters, they didn't want it.
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds, Miley Cyrus. That's basically it, man. It was banned out of emotion. There was no science to it whatsoever. It was just people didn't want it. And actually, it's real taboo around Alberta because I think it was banned in 98. We have grizzlies in people's yards right now, like right where I live. There's grizzlies in people's fucking yards, and they have the science to bring the hunt back. Like the numbers are sustainable to do it, and yet we just can't seem to do it. Like there's just so much pushback on it. I've talked to a few guys in the higher positions about it, and they say the same thing. Like nobody wants to fucking touch it because it's just going to be public backlash. Well, and when you look at that, and that's the reason I brought that up, right? It was based off emotion. The numbers, prove that there was a sustainable amount of grizzlies that you were able to have season. Now, what keeps grizzlies, from a fear? When it happens, raisins coming into people's yard, or the offering that goes along that there is no fear, no different than kids or anything else, then they can get away with whatever they want, and they certainly will. So imagine where you guys are at 10 years from now with no federal or government trappers, going after them. Is your little puppy and cat going to be safe? Are you going to be able to hop on a mountain bike and go riding around on a forest road? Fuck no, you're going to get eaten. And that was based off emotion. And the problem is I don't know what the percentage is. Let's say 80% of the people that voted have never even fucking stepped foot in the wilderness of the woodline. Mm-hmm. They're in the city, but they based off emotion on their vote, which screws all the people that actually have to live with that on a day-to-day basis. And the same shit's going on here in the States.
Well, in Alberta, just 2021 alone, there was 3 grizzly kills. Like they killed 3 people. Fuck, one lady got killed. It was on her own property. She was walking on her own property and a fucking boar grizz mauled her and killed her. That's the amount of bear problems we have in this country, and there's nothing that anybody can do about it. Because if you shoot that bear, it's an instant court date.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter if he was charging your self-defense. That gets left up to the judge. So if you shoot that bear and then report it, it's instantaneous court date, no matter the reason.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, and none of us want court dates.
No. Yeah, it's out of hand, man, and it spirals wildly out of control, and that it all comes back to us being good representatives of hunting, like we were talking about earlier in the podcast, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
And people are freaking idiots. One thing I do want to talk about before we bail off here is Wacy decided to go bow shopping. Yeah. And I don't know. I think, what are you looking at, Wacy? You're looking at a Wangard right now, right?
Yeah, Wangard, yeah. I was trying to get my greasy mitts on a fucking Bob Lee, but I don't know if
I'm trying.
I don't know if that's good. Oh, it's all good, Aaron. But yeah, we're just I've been talking to Trent and looking at some handles and stuff.
Basically, the discussion we've been having today is whether he should get a bow set up off the shelf, on a springy rest, or on a fishing line rest. And I figured while we had you on here, it'd be a good discussion.
I've been hearing a lot of good news about that new Matthews.
Did you hear what I said about the rest, Aaron?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah, we got you now. Yeah.
Okay. The thing with the Wingard, and that's one of the better bows I've ever shot. The negative side to a Wingard is he has like a 75-year lead time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only downside. Like that bow, whether it's off a fishing line, I don't really like shooting off the shelf anymore. It's just more consistent and I would say more forgiving. To have a springy or a fishing line rest. That fishing line rest is extremely hard to beat. It's simple. You don't have obviously, where you can go up or down as far as, how many ounces the spring is, but it never wears out. And I have the riser built out for it. Literally, if you went through, if you kind of ton and looked for one every 2 years, you'd be, pushing it. And with that Wingard in general, it's just a smooth shooting, super fast bow. He makes an amazing bow. But I would say I would lean towards the fishing line rest above anything. And he makes the risers out of G10, so you certainly drill it out and put a springy on it. But, unless you're really geeked out on tuning, the springy gives you a little more options as far as adjusting in and out and different weights of springs. But, if you're used to tuning off the shelf, I would say the fishing line rest is a real happy medium that lasts for a long time and it gives you a little bit more forgiveness.
I'm running that fishing line rest on my Tolkien right now. And dude, I'm loving it. It's I came from a springy on a stalker and then before that on a Satori, and the fishing line rest is like you're saying, it's once it's set, you're laughing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You're good to go.
That's wicked. And you're loving the Shikari, hey?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, I've killed a ton of shit with a ton of different bows. I mean, Scotty's, seen it firsthand, but, the way I look at it, it's durable, it's forgiving, smooth draw cycle, good speed, good people behind it. And I've beaten the holy ever living shit out of it and it still hasn't blown up. So I've been super lucky with that bow and been able to take a lot of animals with it. And JJ and Rob and Jenny, over at the we'll call it the Bobley World headquarters, are super good people. And no different than Trent Wingard is a dude that you pray to God that your daughter marries. A great guy, great bow. beautiful bow. Bobley, another one, Stalker makes a great bow. I mean, all of these people in bow manufacture, whatever, different companies are very easy to support because of who they are and what they do and what they stand for. And Bobley's one of them, as well as, Wingard.
Yeah, absolutely, man. There's so many great people inside the traditional archery space. I haven't met too many folks except for Krusties on the internet that I don't like inside of the traditional stuff.
No comment.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I think if I stay on here any longer, I'm gonna get a divorce.
I've been through 4, so you're good.
I don't know, man. My leg's pretty smooth right now. I get to hunt a whole heck of a lot, and I think if I lose half of my stuff, that won't be the case. So
Can you part your hair with your tongue? I found that helps.
Dude, I don't have any hair. I'm bald as shit. So there you go.
Can you lick your eyebrows? Because that'll certainly help further things, I can promise you.
There you go. Right on.
My wife actually sat here through this whole podcast with me. Aron, she said, well, Aron knows. She was like, I hope y'all kill all the freaking coyotes.
Absolutely. There you go. Any closing thoughts, boys?
No, just thanks, guys. Thanks for the time from me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, same thing, man. I appreciate what you guys do, what you stand for, and I'm glad we can help you out in whatever way we can with Kafaru. And what you guys are doing is great, and I appreciate it.
Man, we appreciate the help so much, and we say it on here all the time. Like we'll never end up being sponsored or helping out companies that we're not stoked or weren't customers of ahead of time. And I think we're both hardcore Kafaru guys, so happy to always have you guys aboard. So
I told Aron that one time. Long time ago, I was like, dude, if you start hating me and we're not friends anymore, I'm going to go under an alias name and I'm still going to buy the damn packs.
I think that's happened.
Hey, Aron,
I come along.
Hey, Aron, have you? Go ahead, Scotty.
Go ahead. No, Aron and I have talked about this a bunch. I come along in the time when you packed an elk off the mountain in the old timey packs. I just thought you were supposed to hurt for a week, and so when I got that first Kafaru pack, I was like, holy smokes, this is this is cheating.
Dude, I posted a photo the other day of about 100 pounds of salt in my bag, like 2 44-pound ag blocks, and then like a bunch of those small blocks and all like the water bottle pockets and in the main bag of a Striker XL. But so many dudes message me and they're like, you're full of shit. You didn't carry that, because it's like well over 100-pound load. And I'm like, dude, I carried it 3K. It's not that big of a deal. I'm like, you must have one of those other packs that fucks your back up.
Yep.
I said, try one. So there you go.
What were you saying, Wakey?
I was going to ask you, do many people say Kifaru when they're talking about Kafaru?
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because it's happened. It happens to me all the fucking time. I don't know why people say that, but. All
right. So.
Kifaru, all those ones. So.
All right. So you guys can find Aron Snyder from Kifaru at Aron _Snyder. There you go. All right. Everybody knows where to find you guys. Scotty Campbell on Instagram. He's Topo Texas Outfitters, I think. Right? Did I get that?
Yep. That's perfect.
Yeah. It's top_O_Texas_ Outfitters. He made that super simple for all of us.
Yep. Definitely easy. And then everybody knows Aron Snyder, Aron _Snyder on Instagram. And thanks, guys. It's always a pleasure to chat with you and having you on. And we appreciate your friendship and appreciate sitting down bullshitting with you.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, guys. Enjoyed it.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe and leave us a review. You can follow us on Instagram at Wilderness Locals. If you want to support the podcast, please check out the gear, articles, and whatever else we're up to on the website at www.wildernesslocals.net.